Just the bad kind of bitter. Bitter,
Recording in progress.
Overtime. How we doing? How we doing? Oh, we're gonna change the middle ground number and do it like this. And so back to overtime. Overtime is something I tend to do when I'm on the road because there's so many things you cannot control when you're away from your main location. So overtime is the way to just actually interact with folks more one-on-one outside of the constraints of the broadcast. And let's get it. Moderators, do me a favor. Keep dropping that link in the description. If you want to join on the interview is where we do the split screen. And if you want to, that's where you're going to be side by side with me. Or if you want to go on the Zoom call to where you don't necessarily have to be on the radio, where you don't necessarily have to be on screen with me, that's over here. Let me turn this light on. There we go. A little bit more relaxed. What's one of the major things going on today is so many women. I feel sorry for some women because while I do understand a lot of women feel like they're getting mixed messages, I also know it's only women. I'm not talking to a bunch of men tonight. It's women who feel like they're getting a lot of mixed messages, and it's what you're choosing to focus on. When I said that, if you ask a woman what percentage of men they think are having sex, they're going to tell you, like I said, 60, 70, 80, 90% of men. Like I said, they're only focusing on a small group of men now. The small group of men, your cameras, your microphone's not on. Your microphone needs to be connected no matter what. A small group of men. So if you think 80% of men are having sex, you don't realize, like I said, that most guys. Think about how most men have had to have sex in the world. That's why brothels existed. How could 80% of men be having sex, and then you have an active strip club industry, porn, escorts, brothels? Because most men aren't having sex, even in this hookup culture. And this is why we talk about monogamy. And women trip me out talk about men cheating. Ladies, understand something. Y'all don't mind men cheating. When a man can have multiple children by multiple different women, that is a form of some sort of relationship anyway. That's some sort of poly relationship. And you cannot get 7 billion people on the planet with monogamy. Because if you need to be married, presumably married first before kids, how do you get them? So, overtime. If you want to click the link and come in, I'll hang out for about 30 minutes. But I'll pump you in and I'll bump you out real quick. Yeah, that person gets removed. That person gets removed. I love New York City. Glad you're back. Thank you. I love New York City. There's no other city like this on the planet. Here's the time to ask questions. Here's that time to ask questions about things that you may not be clear about. And one of the things I would prefer is if I say something that bothers you, it would be better to you ask me the question directly, because more often than not, people misquote me or quote me out of context. What's my ultimate goal? My ultimate goal is to help women become the best versions of themselves for the men that want them. This is a men's channel. Even though I talk to women, I talk to women about things that men say every day. The problem is men can't talk the way we talked before because of this cancel culture. I mean, just look at the crap I've had to deal with. But the reality is that men want relationships more than I think women even understand. But they're not wanting bad deals. That's why a lot of guys push back against some of these messages that are given to guys. Accept a woman no matter how she looks, how much she weighs. This whole body positivity is just another way to get men to lower their standards. That's what men think. Body positivity is another way to get men to lower their standards and accept something that they don't want. This whole acceptance culture, acceptance of body positivity, acceptance of, a woman with multiple children, all these things. But my question is, what are women asked to accept from men? What are women really truly asked to accept from men? I can't think of anything you're asked to accept. It's like this whole concept of toxic masculinity. That's bullcrap. It's masculinity. And the funny thing is, so many women are masculinity is so foreign to women today, to where you don't understand that it comes in multiple different varieties, but it's all the same thing. It's a mindset. So whether it's in t-shirt and jeans or a suit, masculinity is masculinity. Hello, Monreal. Mel, let me go ahead and pull you up. Get you unmuted. Hello. How are you? Good. Trying to deal with this weather. How old are you? All right. Whoa. So what are we talking about today? In overtime. What do we got?
To my understanding, after watching a few of your shows, and obviously I'm in no man's land at this point, according to
We're all somewhere.
Pardon?
We're all somewhere.
Right. So my question for you would be, because it's kind of lost in translation for me after watching some of your shows, are you specifically speaking about just high value men?
When I'm speaking about high value men, I usually clarify because it is such a definite subset. High value men are roughly the top 10% of the earners in the community and in the world, with some modifiers onto it. But I also expand the conversation out to what I consider productive, competitive, successful men. That really kind of opens it up to about the top 20%. And that number is given to us by women based upon the kind and caliber of lifestyle women want to lead. Women want men who, especially in the black community, women want black men to be able to pay the majority of the bills, regardless as to what they say. That's one of the things my show has shown more than anything else. So while high value men may be a small subset of men, the reality is most women want that. So did that answer your question?
Yes, and I have a follow-up question.
Go ahead.
Why is that percentage so small?
Well, what do you mean, why is it so small?
Why
the
is
percentage of high
there
value
only
men
10 to 20% exactly?
Well, okay. I don't think that question makes any sense. If it wasn't
Well, I'm
small,
asking
hold on,
because
let me explain. Why,
sure.
if high value man was the norm, then it wouldn't be high. If a C is now an A, what good is an A? What do you do for a living?
I'm a banker.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to college?
Yes.
Do you have a bachelor's?
Yes.
Master's?
No.
Does your job require a bachelor's?
Yes, or the equivalent
Hmm.
in
If you could get
in
your job with,
experience.
if you could get a job with just, if you could get your job with just a GED or a sixth grade diploma, why would you need to go to college if you wanted to become a banker?
I understand your question. However, banking is something that I kind of fell into. Like,
Okay. Well, why do average women who average looking, average built, average everything, and average in all ways, want a high value man? Hello?
you're speaking about me.
Yeah, I'm just asking. No, you're asking why there's so few, and the question really should be why there's so few. Is why is so many women want them when they can't, when they're really not in their category? The problem is the lack of high value men. The problem is average women want one, and they should want a man who's on their level.
Well, a lot of women who you would say are average are high earners themselves.
So,
So most of the time,
so,
um, we
so
would want someone who earns equivalent or
that's not
more.
how it works, man.
I
That
understand.
no, no,
I
I'm just no, no.
understand. I'm
Listen,
just
listen. No,
sharing.
no. But see, the problem is that's that's y'all's problem that you think your socioeconomic status improves your sexual marketplace value. When I'm talking about average, I'm talking about the way you look and the way you're built. That's what men judge on. And what you've just demonstrated is when you talk about average, you take into consideration all that plus education and income. That ain't what men do. See, if women had to actually choose from the men that they look like, then it wouldn't matter if you had a PhD and you made a $500,000 a year. You're still average.
Right, but women will accept someone who maybe we're not as attractive to um, if they do make more money.
Yeah, but we won't accept you. If a man makes the money, he won't accept the average woman. Is the problem a lack of high value men or the problem that too many below average women, below high value women want them and won't deal with men on their level?
As far as looks, is what you're saying.
Look, ma'am, look. This is real simple.
I'm asking a valid
Yes,
question. I'm just,
because
these are
that is what
conversations that
because that
many
is
women,
what you ladies have all because in the last 60, 70 years, women have wanted men to change who they are. Men have always wanted valued women on their look, their sexual marketplace value. Lizzo, you know who she is, right?
yes. Mm-hmm.
That woman is 300 pounds, but she says she does not want a man her size. And she only goes after men who are good looking and in great shape. Is that a man on her level? And the way you're talking is, well, it depends on his money. It doesn't depend on his money because her money does not come into the equation. Why can't black women who are successful in music, entertainment, or film or acting get men who are leading men? Because they have to get a man based upon how they look. Jill Scott's husband was what? Was he a high value man? No, he was average.
I don't know. I don't know who her husband is.
Well, they're divorced.
Oh,
So the problem really is not the lack of high value men. The high value men have always been pretty much the top 10% of men. The problem is so many women want them today and won't deal with men on their level because they think it's settling because of their job or their income. But that ain't working.
so repeat that last part because I want to make sure I understand. You're saying that average women should accept men that are on their level as far as the looks are concerned, even if they don't earn the same amount of money.
Not accept they, that's who you're qualified for.
we're qualified for.
Yes,
Okay.
it's called assortative mating. High ranking or higher value people get with the higher ones. Above average get with above average. Average gets with average. See, men understand this. And the problem is, if there's only 10% of the men, they're going to go with one woman to marry. They can only marry one. If 10 women want one man and he marries one woman, what are the other nine supposed to do? Today, the other nine are going to sit around and pine away for that other guy or try to find another one instead of looking to see what man is on their level. And when they do finally say, well, I can't get him, they feel like they're settling for somebody who's on their sexual marketplace value level. Still
All
confused?
right.
Is it still confusing?
No, I wasn't confused. Just wanted to get some clarity.
Well, so are you aware that many average women, women who admittedly are average, average looking, below average fitness, average earning, have a problem dating men who are making $50,000, $60,000 a year, average plumber. I mean, average hardworking men. Do you know that?
Yes.
So what's the breakdown in that equation?
As I was stating before, there are some women who are my age, between 40 and 45, who earn sometimes a lot more than those men. So, in a traditional sense, we look for a man who would be able to.
Ain't nothing traditional about an older woman. There's nothing traditional about an older woman expecting to get a man that makes what she's made. That's y'all's fault. Because most of the
And
women you
you know
talk,
what? In a sense, I want to agree with you on that. I heard on another show that you had a woman stated that, many, especially in the Black community, our mothers raised us to be single women.
hmm?
And I can attest to that, where, many of our mothers or grandmothers would, emphasize, make sure you go to school and you earn a degree and you
But your grandmother was
get a
married.
career and be able to take care of yourself, because you can't rely on a man to take care of you. That was the gospel
Hold on.
for
Was your
people my
grandmother married?
age as
Was
a
your grandmother
millennial.
married?
Yes.
So see the lie in that. Your grandmother, you're 40. How old?
She married, but
How old? No,
they
if you
were
were 40, how
divorced.
old? 40 what?
45.
All right, we're in the same age cohort. Many of the women told y'all can't rely on the men, but they lied. Most of our grandparents, Generation X, were all married, and most of them died married. Your mothers told you not to rely on a man, and it's likely your mother wasn't married, but your mother wasn't married because she was rebellious.
My mother was married.
Your mother's generation, that's what I mean.
Okay.
My mother's generation was rebellious. My mother's generation looked down upon their mother's generation. They thought they were fools. And then when they got to be their age, they realized how foolish they actually were. The silent generation was the last group of black women that were married at a high rate. Baby boomers screwed it up and they gave birth to Generation X, our generation. And
Mhm.
we're the ones that got mixed messages. The problem is, many people in our generation were grown up with seeing married grandparents but
Mhm.
unmarried mothers,
Mhm.
and women giving bitter stories that they did not really necessarily live or didn't give the entire story. And they set their
Right.
daughters up for failure. So now there's so many women over 40 wanting to get married. And the problem is, you have to, men judge you based upon your looks, your body, and your kids and all that stuff before your socioeconomic status. And women have a hard time with that because so much of their identity is tied up in their degree and their income. But that has never been how men have selected women. Never. Anywhere on the planet. You know what the real problem is?
What's
Women
that?
over 40 are out of shape and physically unfit. Because if they were still in shape and attractive, they wouldn't complain about the standard so much.
You're speaking in general terms, right?
In our community, 80% of the women are overweight.
Oh, wow.
And then 80% of that number is obese. The
Oh.
average woman in our community weighs more than the average man at her height.
Mm.
That's that's the bigger problem. It's not the problem that the men have a sexual marketplace standard. The problem is that they don't fit it. But good conversation. I hope that answered the question. We need to get the likes up, folks.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bye bye. Yeah, I think I think a lot of women get upset with this whole. Well, I have my degree and I make a certain amount of money. Don't matter. Look at all the women. Look at the women in Hollywood who make money. You don't see in the black community. Name the women in music, entertainment who make a lot of money who were married to men who make more money than them. If your TV is not on, Josie. Hey, Candace, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, I figured,
Hey,
if I was okay to pop up again because we're
yeah,
in
yeah, go ahead. It's
overtime.
overtime. It's
Okay,
overtime.
cool.
What do you got?
So, sorry, I was on my phone just now.
No
I don't
problem.
want to be that person that wasn't paying attention.
Hmm.
But what the woman was last talking about, I believe, about getting married. Wait, what was the subject? I'm sorry.
Well, it's overtime, so we're talking about whatever questions that come up. It's
Okay,
overtime.
well, I mean, I'm 31. I would like to get married.
Okay.
I do have a child, so I do have one count against me.
I thought you were on last show, right?
Yes.
I thought you
Well,
were.
earlier.
I thought you were married.
No. I was on earlier, the beginning of this show.
Mm-hmm. That's why I make these people do what they. That's why I make them show their hand before they go home. So go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I've never been married. I am currently in a dating field, dating
Mm-hmm.
people, meeting people, but hopefully soon,
You said
me
you
and the
do
right
have a
one
child
find
though.
each other. I do, yes.
Okay. I don't know how I missed it because I thought you said you were married, but okay. You're in Atlanta.
No. Yes.
Okay. So how old is your child?
She is 6. Her name's
Mm.
Kona.
Okay. Why didn't you marry the dad?
Me and her dad did not get married because we had a lot of issues dealing with infidelity, lying, cheating, the typical.
How
But we
much
did
lying and
do.
cheating were you doing?
It wasn't me, it was her dad. We met maybe at 22, he was 23. So we were very young. And so we did go back and forth at the dating and trying to work it out. But when we got to the last straw, we did have a serious conversation of okay, how can we make this work? You know? But he really felt like he wanted me to be with someone who wanted the same things that I wanted because he just didn't want the same thing. We just didn't want the same
So I got
things.
to ask the question then: why have the child?
So that's an interesting story. And it
You got to
actually,
shorten it up though, because this is going to come
okay.
up over and over again. Because I think you ladies need to understand
So we were
men are
very young while we were together, and we had
you're
that
young.
puppy
You
love,
got
and
hold on,
we
hold on, hold
both
on,
agreed to
hold
make a
on, hold on, hold on,
child.
hold on, hold on, hold on. You got pregnant at what age?
23.
You're
23.
not, you're not young. Young is 14. You're an adult.
Well, yes, absolutely.
So you ladies are gonna have to understand that men today are not accepting the things that my generation accepted. They're wanting to know why you didn't marry the father, and they're listening to see what your answers are. And the answers you typically give as women are insufficient. I was young. That automatically cancels most of you out because they're like, she's making excuses. Men want to hear strict accountability because what you're really looking for is not a husband. You're looking for a stepfather.
Yeah.
And that's a shitty deal for most men. All liability, no asset. So I'm gonna be real. You women with children have to overcome a lot. And oversell themselves and make themselves such a good deal that a man needs to take a risk on you. All of you. And I don't think anybody has to just want to tell you guys that up front because it's just politically incorrect.
The step that we both took was very backwards. And I did ask my question of marriage, and he wasn't sure, but he was sure he wanted to have a baby with me. Obviously, that's not the right way to go with it. I learned my lesson.
You guys you didn't get pregnant accidentally? You did it on purpose?
We agreed we wanted to procreate and make a child.
Oh, well,
but for me, my common sense thing was like, well, are we going to get married first? You know,
you screwed. You're screwed.
But I learned something from that.
I'm just be honest, man. I'm being honest. You gonna tell some man, oh yeah, I purposely got pregnant outside of marriage. Let me back up. I'm being a little hyperbolic. Do you want to have any more kids?
I would like to have one more, but if I don't, I will be okay with that because kids are a lot of work.
Yep.
Mentally.
So what percentage of the family financial load do you want to have to be responsible for your entire lifetime?
Honestly, I'm a hard worker. I wouldn't mind working 50-50, but if my husband wanted me to stay at home, be a stay-at-home mom, maybe 20%.
I asked you a specific question.
20%.
You want to just have to be responsible for 20%.
Yes.
So in other words, you want what most women want, a provider male.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you got to understand that these men are in short supply. They're limited. And as a woman with a child, who you say I knew full well I was getting pregnant on purpose outside of marriage, a guy's going to have to look at you like you're crazy. Most of them. They may not say it, but they're going to be like, why'd you do that? Because the kind of man you're talking about.
I really thought we was going to get married one day. Okay, I really did.
Well, no, but if you really thought you was going to get married, you should have waited. See, that's what I'm saying.
I should have.
Well, but see, okay. Because the kind of man you're talking about, to provide a lifestyle for, because a man would want his own children. How much money do you think that man's going to need to make to provide for a family of 4?
Probably between $80,000 to $100,000 living in Atlanta.
$80,000, man? No.
No.
$80,000? $80,000 is comfortable for one person, for one single adult in Atlanta. For a family of 3 and a wife who's not responsible for more than 10%, talk about a man making around 300 to 350. So for 2, you're talking $250,000. I mean, let me give you an example. What do you do for a living?
I'm a hairstylist.
All right. Whatever you make, he'd have to replace your income. Plus provide for 2 children.
Right.
Mama, would you help?
What your kid doing up at 1 o'clock in the morning?
He's supposed to be asleep.
Mom, I need your help to spell spring gum in my game.
Well, I'm on a phone call. Thank you.
How old is that boy? How old is
Girl.
that boy?
Girl. She's 6.
At 1 o'clock in the morning?
She was supposed to be asleep. She just graduated from kindergarten. I let her stay up late last night, but...
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't know. I'd have been terrified to come to my mama's house, my mama's room at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I can't do what I would like to do right now on camera, but
I'm just saying. At 1 o'clock in the morning, I would have been making no noise
He
because
can
I would be
hear
like,
you.
"Oh
Go
my
to
God,
bed.
she can't
You're
know that I'm
embarrassing
awake."
mom. Go to bed now.
Mommy, I need you to spell something. Can you spell? I need to go to my friend's party.
Get it under
She's
control,
acting
Mama. It's not a good look.
I know. Not a good
And
look,
then-
Kona. Go in the room.
Please spell it.
Do you want to see your friend tomorrow?
I do.
Okay, go in the room.
No, I spell.
She's 6.
All right, I'm gonna use this as a teaching lesson. Okay.
Okay, I'm listening.
Your 6-year-old has no fear of you.
At
So
times.
no, just listen, man. I just need you. There's no way in hell I would have got up at 1 o'clock in the morning as a child and let my mother know I was even awake. Because I know I'd
agree.
be in trouble, much less come into the room unannounced, start making demands. And then, when told to go do something, back talk.
I'm working on that. I'm working on
So
that.
I need you, and this is what I mean. You ladies need to understand. That's your child. That a man coming into that would have no authority, no more authority than you do. That's why most men are like, I'm not gonna do that. She can't get that thing under control. And I get it. You're on camera, this and
I'm
that.
trying.
But what I'm saying,
I know.
but okay, what am I saying?
You're asking me what are you saying?
Yeah, because I keep trying to say what I'm saying. You keep saying,
Basically, like if a man will have to come into the situation and have to either, he won't really have a lot of say over her. I would allow him to have say over that because he would be a parent in the household, but it would be a lot to come into. Now, her father is still in her life. He spends time with her. He gets his visitation, sees her every week, both grandparents on both sides, but it would be considered a little bit of a baggage to come into.
A little bit? No, a lot.
A lot, because he
This
has
is
a
why. This
choice.
is why I need you
Either
ladies to
come into it or
understand that.
not.
I need you ladies to understand that your children are your children, but a man, that is a liability. Because I'm listening at it from a man's side, and I'm sitting here looking. I'm like, why is this kid up at 1 o'clock in the morning? Why is this kid making this? And why are you negotiating? Why don't you? Why does this kid even feel like he should be able to talk to you at 1 o'clock in the morning without the fear of God fire being slapped out of their mouth? Why are they talking back? And then why don't they walk out pouting without? It's like that's how men think. We are
I'm
disciplined
working
first.
on that. I'll be honest
But
with you. I don't let her run the house. It's if you have kids, you understand. Like I'm
I
working
understand that
with
my
that.
daughter didn't do that.
It's an everyday thing.
No, I understand that my daughter didn't do that. Not with me. She tried it. She did it with her mom. She did it with me. She did it when that didn't happen because
And I
it's
always think
different.
about
It's
that.
different, and it's different because I said a teaching moment, and that's what I'm saying. You may not like how I'm saying it, and you're saying I'm working on it, whatever. But what I'm saying is, I'm a man in the public. I'm telling you, men are auditioning for stepfathers, and if that's what's already going on, it's like, okay, cool, we can kick it. But most people aren't gonna want to even deal with that. That's why most men just go with a woman with no kids, because that's not even in there. Working on it, not working on it. Your best efforts, whatever. Like you said, her father's in her life. That's another man a man has to deal with. I've had to deal with another man regarding a kid, and it's not a good thing. I don't think you ladies understand how much of you're asking for most men. That's why I'm not marrying the man you have a baby with. Is so problematic.
Trust me, we really tried,
I
and it
forget
just
it.
wasn't going to work.
Okay, so let's keep on.
Mhm.
You don't want to have to pay more than 20% of the bills. You're still going to You're going to be looking for a man that's earning the top 10% of earners. No matter how we slice it, you're still looking for the top 10% of men.
I would be okay with paying 50-50, like doing that. But if he is someone that wanted me to stay home with the kids, cool. Now, my industry that I'm in.
Yeah, but paying 50-50. But what does the average black man make in America?
Like, I think between like 40 or 50,000, I believe. I heard you say before.
It's a big range. What do you think it is?
I would think it's 40. If I look at my father or the men that I know.
40,500. Do you make more than that?
I'm around 40.
All right. So you guys are, if you're both earning that, you both have to work, and then another kid come into that. Um, you know, I would say that it'll be more likely to get a guy who's 50-50 because higher earning men just have standards. They have standards they're not going to budge on. Now, when it comes to marriage, there's a lot of stuff men will say to date and to have sex. When it comes to wives, it's pretty strict.
And I'm not saying I'm going for a high value man per se, but you know.
I get it. I get it. But what I'm saying is that have you ever dated you know, I would just say that you probably have better luck with somebody who's going to be more flexible on household standards. High earners, high achievers, guys who are making $70,000, $80,000 a year, they know they're in the top 15% of men. They know that, and they can actually, they have their pick. And here's the reality: just like a woman who's 25 years old, who's hot, attractive, has her pick of the litter of men. Men who are in the top earners have their pick of the litter of women. So
absolutely.
I would just say.
I guess more of my question is like, how do I go about in the dating scene? Like,
well,
I guess
I was
I'm
about to get to
considered to
this.
be in the danger zone.
How you go about that is you have to. The first thing you're going to have to explain is how your child is not going to be a liability to any man. That's why I focus so much on what happened with your daughter. You got to be able to explain why that is.
It was just like she came in here. I said,
but that's the reality. Okay, and my actual answer, ma'am, is that won't work with any a man. The kind of man I'm talking about, high value or average, that won't work. You got to get that. It could be somebody, a man's wife. The kind of man we're talking about. I'm even talking about average earning men. Because, yeah.
The volume went down.
You got to get that under control. And it can't be something you're working on. Great. When it's worked out, then get back out into the dating market.
The volume, I think, went down.
Hello?
For some reason.
I'm still. The volume went down.
It changed to your MacBook, I think. I can hear you, but it's very faint.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, you're back. You're back.
What I'm saying is ultimately, man, it could be something you're working on, but that needs to be addressed. Your house with your daughter is gonna have to be stable and under control for the kind of men I'm talking about. That's first before her stepfather, because I'm just telling you from what I hear from most men. Nah. But and that may not be what you want to hear, but
I'm listening. I'm taking notes. You know, I've dated and been dating, but when it comes down to like when we have that first date or second date, it's like, what are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
You know, are they really ready looking for marriage? And some of them weren't. Some of them were. Right. But you know, we dated for a couple times, and it's just, you know, I get that it's not about love all the time. But
do you date men with children?
I do.
Yeah. I would say that would be the first thing you want to start doing is dealing with men with kids, because men with kids tend to be a little bit more
flexible.
Mm-hmm. More flexible, more realistic. But yeah. All right. All the best, man. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Have a good one. Mimi, how are we doing? Unmute yourself. I don't know why. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Hello? Hello, hello, hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Hold on.
Can you see me? Hear me?
Yeah. The microphone keeps going out for some reason.
Hello?
Yes. Hello.
Oh, yes. Can you
How are
see
you?
me?
I can see you.
I'm good. How are you, Kevin?
Good. How old are you?
I am 33.
All right. What are we
Can I
talking about?
can I see you on here?
No, not yet.
Oh, it's just one.
Band,
Okay, one way view.
bandwidth issues. So, what are we talking about tonight?
Oh, man, okay. First and foremost, I appreciate you for putting me on here. I'm so nervous, so excuse me.
That's
Um,
okay.
I've been watching you for quite some time, and I've been talking to my I've put a couple people on to you. I would say a few women that I would
Uh oh.
like. What's that?
I was just saying. Uh oh.
No, no,
My
all good, all good. Like I'm Team Kevin all the way through. But I
cool.
do have some questions, some things that we discussed, and we
Okay.
had come up with this question, and I wanted to run it by
What's the
you.
question? What's the
So,
question?
okay, the question is so, um, doing all that you recommended, marrying young, having children young, placing their own potential to earn on the back burner for a mate, then being divorced. When it's all said and done, what's the probability of another man stepping in to pick up where the first one left off? Like
O-
when a woman has invested her best into one man and it doesn't work out, like what's next?
Okay. Well.
Is
Okay.
options
So
are
hold on. What's
okay.
when a woman's invested her best in a man, meaning she married him?
Yeah, yeah.
So you're talking about a woman was married to her husband and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't work out, meaning a divorce?
Yeah.
Okay, let's tackle that. We have a higher than 50% divorce rate in this country, right?
Right, right.
But in the black community, who is filing divorce at an 80+% rate? The
You're
women.
kind of breaking it. Women, you're right. Yeah.
Okay,
Women.
so if it doesn't work out, it's generally because women are leaving. So if it doesn't
Well,
work, huh?
I'm gonna be the odd one out because it wasn't me. It
Well, I
wasn't
mean,
me.
okay, well, if that's the case, if it didn't work, if you're one of the 20% of women who your husband divorced you, why'd you guys get divorced?
Um, well, to be honest, I stayed. I it wasn't like immediate divorce. We didn't get divorced immediately. We
Yeah, but I
separated.
just want to know the ultimate reason. The skip to the end.
Infidelity.
Why'd you guys get divorced?
Infidelity.
You were cheating and he was cheating too?
He was cheating, and then I cheated,
All
and
right.
then he left.
So he was cheating and then you cheated and he left after you cheated?
Yeah.
Did he stop cheating?
No.
So he was cheating, and because you cheated
Yeah.
while he was cheating, he left?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. And his reason for leaving was because y'all were both cheating? I mean, what was it?
Well, his whole rhetoric is, women, well, I guess you would side with him, but he said women shouldn't do what men do, that it's not the same thing. We're supposed to
Well, let's
deal with
examine it.
all of
Let's examine it. I say high value men don't cheat. They exercise options. Was he a
well,
high
he was
value man?
definitely was not a high value man. No,
Okay. So
no,
he wanted double standards. Okay.
definitely,
Well,
definitely.
and I'm gonna just take it at your word that he cheated and then you stayed, but when you decided to cheat, and by cheating you mean you actually had sex with another person.
Yeah.
How do you find out about it?
Um, about to put my business out there. Well, I hope he sees this, whatever. Um,
Did you tell him?
he went, well, I eventually I did, but he, roundabout way found out from his one of his friends that was staying at my apartment at the time. He had him take my phone and look through it and
Was he looking
found out.
for? Was okay. All right. Well, Because most men don't go looking for that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'll just take this at a grain of salt that you didn't tell him, but his friend told him that you were doing something.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you wanted him to find out because most women pretty hide infidelity pretty well. um,
Um,
how long ago was this
yeah.
marriage? How long ago was it?
Ooh, we are technically, well, legally, we're legally still married. We
Okay
got
then.
married in 2009.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you still married.
Yeah.
So what's your question
Well,
about how do you prepare
let
for
me
the
take
next
that
man?
back. We're legally, meaning the divorce has not finalized yet.
Well,
But
means you're still married.
yeah, but I did what you said. I
Listen, no, listen, listen.
stayed, I
I
I
got,
begged, I crawled over glass,
I
but
got it. I
you
got it. But
know,
I'm going on to the next part,
didn't
though. I'm moving on to the
right.
next part. I'm moving on to the next part. The question you ask is how do you get prepared for the next man, or be ready, or something about the next man. That's how we started this, right?
Right, correct, correct.
All right. You can't. You're not done with this one.
Um, I'm I'm done. I moved on. I met somebody else like about 3 years ago, and it didn't work out. Um, yeah, it didn't work out. But I feel like I put my all into it. I did, we all make mistakes. We all do things.
You're
And
talking to
again,
yourself. I'm still listening to a woman who still is not done. Look, I said
uh,
you're not done with
are
this
you
man.
are you saying I'm not done because the divorce is not finalized
Ooh,
yet? Is that why?
no, I'm saying the mindset of who I'm talking to right now. What
I'm
I'm reading from
I
you.
I think I'm
Okay,
done.
all right. Well, cool.
I mean, what makes you say that? Like, what makes
Then it
you?
doesn't matter what makes it said. You've just shut down what I said. You're not accepting it anyway. So what difference does it make?
Okay, say it again one more time. Run it by me.
I've said that you
Okay.
are not done. You are still emotionally involved in this situation.
Okay. Okay, I agree with that.
That means you're not ready to move on anywhere. What there is no vacancy. There's no empty space for another man to come fill.
Hmm.
And if you don't have that level of self awareness, let me be the one to tell you, point blank, period, you ain't done. Because if you got married in 2009
Yeah.
and you've been separated for how many years?
10 years.
10 years. And a divorce ain't final? A
No, we
process,
had
a
kids.
paperwork process that takes less than 6 months
But see, we
after
had kids together.
I don't give see
Right. And so I was holding on.
every time I go to closure and moving on, comes
No,
up
I'm
here
not
come
denying. I'm not denying what you're saying. I definitely been holding on because we
I
had kids
know.
together, and I thought
Okay, well that means you're not done.
I'm done now.
You can say that. That's
Okay.
your ego. That's your ego and
Right.
your hurt talking. But ain't nothing. There's nothing about the woman I'm talking to that's done with this situation. Now you can either accept it or you choose not to. I mean, I don't know you from a can of paint. I don't have a dog in the fight. But the way you're talking tells me you're not done. Your responses, even when I start saying something you don't want to hear, you're not, no, 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 no. Okay.
Hmm.
But the man you tried to date 3 years ago that didn't work out, well, because you weren't done.
You think that's why it didn't work out?
I don't know, man. But when was the last time you had therapy?
I'm in therapy.
Stay.
Yeah, I will.
Stay because there are things you need to process and clear. Because you start shutting down that response immediately.
I'm
Now,
sorry, say that one more time.
you
You
start
broke up a
shutting that
little bit.
response down immediately, and I get it. You don't want to be done. You wanted it to work, man. But y'all been separated for 10 years.
Separated, yeah.
What's the point of being still married if you've been separated for 10 years? This is just symbolism at this point.
Um,
It's symbolism.
well, I stayed married to him because I
Ma'am,
wanted to
the
make
way you told this story was he cheated and it was a
yeah.
problem. Then you cheated and he left. But that happened 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But it,
Yeah.
but the way you're coming across, the way you're emotionally tied to it, it's like it happened last week.
Right. Right.
Cause
But
you're not emotionally done.
hmm, I okay.
Uh,
I hear you. I didn't see it that way because I felt I moved on with somebody else and
no,
I
you
was
haven't
ready
moved
to
on with
move on, but I
anybody
couldn't.
else. No.
Divorced.
Okay.
So, but I
Uh,
agree with you.
I think
I
you've been
do
telling.
need
I think
to.
you've been telling yourself this own. I think you've been stuck in this lie loop for 10 years, and 10 years
I
is a
have.
long. I know, and here's the problem. It's going to take you years before you're ready. Years.
Oh, don't say that. I don't have that
Oh, I'm
much
going to
time.
tell you. I'm going to tell you because you need to hear because you're in a kind of a denial. It is going to take you years. 10 years separated, and you're still acting. You're still talking like this just happened. It takes about a third of the time to clear. So
Okay, can
you need to. Y'all are divorced. Separated for
I
10
say
years is
something?
divorced. Finalize the process. Put a period and move on. That man ain't your husband. You ain't his wife. Y'all are
No.
legally married on a piece of paper.
That's what it was. That
Well, that's what it still is.
yeah. I if I can I guess defend myself, it was just out of convenience. Like it wasn't in my way. I never had planned to get back into a relationship because I had kids and you know, just
You never had a
decided
plan to get in a relationship with anybody else because you had kids. Is that what you're saying?
huh?
You never planned on getting involved with
That-
anybody else.
Not serious, no, because
Hmm. Okay.
I
I
just
was just
thought,
being
that
clear.
was like you said.
I was
Say
just
it
being
again.
clear on. I was just being clear on. That's what you said. But
Yeah, because I had kids and I felt like it was a lot to ask of somebody
yeah, I get
to
it.
step in and fill
What does
that
he
role.
do? Where's do they have a relationship with their dad?
Yeah, yes, they do.
How often do they see him?
Well, he moved out here not too long ago, so they see him every other weekend, whenever he has time.
Is he in another relationship?
Yeah, he's been in quite some relationships. Yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah,
therapy. You gotta
yeah.
clear this. You gotta clear this clutter. All the
Mm.
best, man. Bye bye.
So
Sometimes we don't want to hear hard truths, but I mean, I'm like, yeah, I'm 10 years. See, the funny thing, I remember I had somebody in my family. I told this story before, you know, where some people just don't get over a relationship. Some women don't. It's rare. It's usually men that hold on like that. So none of us can be in a relationship with one person while somebody else is still there. Mm-hmm. What do I think about couples who are married but live apart? Um, well, I think we're gonna start seeing more of that. It depends on why. I mean, but I think we're gonna start seeing more of that. Honestly, I think we're gonna start seeing more of these executive marriages where you have a productive, competitive, successful man, a woman who's successful on her own terms or whatever, and they've been single for so long. They'll be married, and I'm not. And believe it or not, I believe you'll probably see something. Her house is his house is there, and they got a joint apartment, and they come to the apartment and live together. You watch, mark my words. You're gonna start seeing more people married, but still living separately. But they'll be married on paper and living like married. I need to have a broadcast on that because now, do I think that's going to be healthier for the norm? No, but I just think that there's some folks, like especially women who are really successful. It's hard for women. The question becomes how much of a course correction can be expected at a point in life. I mean, think about a ship as big as the Titanic. If you need to move something that big going this way, that way, it takes a lot of energy. It's easier just to make a slight course correction. And I know a couple that lives like that. They were married and they wanted to kill each other. They got a divorce and they were forced to still live in that house even after the divorce. But after the divorce happened, they became happier than ever because that paper was gone. Look, man, we're going to start having some non-traditional kind of relationships, I think, in the future, where you're going to be like, yeah, man, my wife, you'll be like, yeah, my husband has his own place. I think you're going to start seeing that. I really think you're going to start seeing more married people living separate. You know, I personally, as an only child and somebody that needs my space, kind of cool. Like have a house, and then there's like the second house or like a converted garage. Oh man, that would be the shit. And let me explain what I mean. When I used to come home for the holidays, my family thought I was on some I think I'm better than everybody because I went to college shit. Because we would go home and the extended family would get together and be eating and watching football or whatever. But after eating, I'd eat with the family, I'd socialize. But there's a time when I would go watch the same football game or the same movie, but I'd be in another room. And they thought, without asking me a question, why you do that? He think he better. And then one of my cousins said, he's been the only child his entire life. And there's just time that some people need to recharge their batteries. So could you imagine two people who've lived apart successfully for 35, 40 years? They move into a common residence, but the garage or the second house or whatever is like the man cave. Yeah, I'm going to we sleep together, but yeah, man, I can see a lot of this coming. I can see a lot of this coming. I can see a lot of this coming because what's the alternative? I mean, people are going to have to, we are not going to go and be our grandparents' generation where people were married 30, 40, 50 years. People are going to have to learn how to live around each other in spurts, kind of warm up to it. You don't go from just being single your entire life to moving in with somebody in your space. If you ever live with anybody, man, that's an adjustment. You got to have some space. So, yeah, you got to have some space. And here's the thing, I'm all for it. I would rather see a man and a woman try to do that, and they're legally together, and they got each other's back, and they're trying to figure it out. Our relationship always comes down to an understanding between this person and that person that most people don't understand. If it works for them, all for it. So, you know, we got to figure out a way to get there. So anyway, folks, I got to run. Till next time, deuces.